make sure you were ready. You know what I mean? I don't want to
I,
just
I'm,
spring
I'm
that on you.
always I'm always ready. I'm always off the cuff. I always say what I mean what I say. I'm live 24/7.
Perfect. Perfect. So you're running for Congress,
Yes, sir.
House of Representatives.
Yes, the United States House of Representatives challenging 82-year-old Virginia Fox of North Carolina's District 5.
Okay, so you are the only Democrat in this race. We're not doing a primary. We've already gone through that process. You are the nominee.
No, the primary is on March 3rd.
March 3rd. Okay.
There are two Democrat nominees. I am not one of them. I'm running as an unaffiliated independent.
Independent. Good to know. I want to make sure that people know where you stand, how they can vote for you. I also want people to understand who are going to go back and watch this. For your information, all of my lives are archived on my YouTube channel in the form of a video, so people can go back and watch these later on.
Sure.
I'm not when I do these interviews with folks, I'm not endorsing or not endorsing anybody. I'm trying to have as many voices on. So, for example, just to give folks an idea, I consider myself a center left Democrat. I've never been actually registered as a Democrat, but that's how I identify. That's how I voted my entire life. Here in a couple of weeks, I'm going to have a candidate for Congress here in the state of Illinois on that is extraordinarily left wing progressive, like makes me look like Ronald Reagan because I want to hear what his positions are. I mean, I want to know. I live in a small town where we never get to hear about any of the people that are running for our local offices are. And when it comes to Congress, we always hear about the president and the big senatorial races and all of that, but we never get to have like a meet the candidates night or something of that nature with all of those races that, I mean, 400 and some odd races across the board. So you're running as an independent.
Yes, sir.
There are two Democrats that are going to run in a primary. We've got the incumbent, Virginia Fox.
Virginia Fox, and she actually has a few Republican challengers for her primary, though the RNC is already backing her because she's the incumbent. So the Republican challengers in the primary won't stand a chance. Chuck Hubbard is one of the Democrat candidates in the primary. He challenged Virginia Fox back in 2024. I actually voted for him. I knew he would lose because this district is severely gerrymandered, as many places throughout our country are. This is a ruby red gerrymander district, and the proof is in the pudding. Virginia Fox has gone undefeated for 10 terms, 20 plus years. Chuck Hubbard is a candidate, but he also has a serious contender in his Democrat primary, somebody who I actually align with more so and support more so. A young man, Gen Z man by the name of Kaya Creekmore.
Okay.
Chuck Hubbard is retired. He can't necessarily no ill will towards Chuck Hubbard, but in this day and age, where more younger generations are having a hard time earning a living and getting by, affording cost of everything, a retired individual running to be a representative can't necessarily relate as well as a young man such as Kaya Creekmore. So even though technically Kaya Creekmore and Chuck Hubbard are both my opposition, um, I more aligned so and definitely on the Democrat ticket side of things support Kaya Creekmore. But I am running as an unaffiliated independent because, like I said before, I knew Chuck Hubbard would lose due to gerrymandering. There are simply not enough registered Democrats alone to pull out the victory. You need Republican votes and you need unaffiliated votes. And thankfully, North Carolina has an unprecedented amount of registered unaffiliated voters comparatively to the rest of the country. 2.3 million registered unaffiliated all across the state of North Carolina. In contrast to, I think it's 1.7 Democrat and like 1.1 million registered Republicans. So it's not the antiquated old days of the Jill Stein throwaway third party vote. We're seeing an unprecedented time across our nation of unaffiliated or no affiliation voters.
And how many of those unaffiliated voters that you're talking about from across the state are in your district, the ninth district, right?
650,000.
650,000. So I'm assuming that historic data shows them swinging red since Virginia Fox keeps winning this district.
Yeah, yeah. I think this time and why I'm running unaffiliated independent, we're seeing such a, you keep on hearing this phrasing of I have no political home because I feel like both parties have kind of ignored me. And you hear that more and more from the people. Historically, independents have swung more right than left. Um, I think those times are changing now, especially with this administration that is anything but constitutional, anything but freedom, anything but an affordable economy or health care or no new wars or everything that he so-called, preached about is doing the complete opposite. Everything that this administration, the Trump administration, alleged Biden was doing or Harris would do, this administration in real time is doing. And I think you're seeing a mass exodus on the MAGA side, the Republican MAGA side, from the Republican Party, but just equally with the kind of blind loyalty to APAC and Israel, you're seeing a lot of pullback from registered Dems away from the DNC and the Democrat Party. And a lot of people were really pissed off that there wasn't a single Democrat representative that couldn't even verbally um, challenge the legitimacy of 2024 when, I'm no tinfoil hat wearing, but those numbers, that math didn't math, as the kids say, in my opinion.
Okay, so people are hoping that the vote swings away from red and over to quote unquote blue in your district.
Right.
So it's shaping up to be one of those midterms for folks that don't typically get too deep into politics. It's shaping up to be one of those midterms where the party in power is going to lose a significant number of seats in at least one, if not both, chambers of Congress. So I want to talk about policies because they're going to want to swing to the blue side, but here you are in the middle trying to capture those votes as they swing from red to blue. So let's start at the top. What's your number one policy issue? What is the one thing that if you could say, if I only had a chance to get one thing done in Congress, this would be the thing?
Root out the rampant corruption. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene went viral every single day for screaming "drain the swamp," and then she amassed $40 million in 4 years' time from her original $700,000 net worth. The actual swamp is rampant. The actual corruption is rampant to the point where we can't even pass any meaningful legislation on things that people want. Actual affordable health care, making our way to universal health care, actual affordable housing, reducing the taxes on actual hardworking Americans.
Okay, so let's hang on, slow down. You've named three of them here. Let's
No,
start with
but
that
that's
first.
my point. That's my point, Tom. We cannot make headway unless we root out those on the take that are preventing making headway.
So that's my
on
question: is
any
how do we
area.
do that? How do we do
Oh
that?
man, you got to call them out in 4K. There is this backdoor, closed door meeting club. I'm sure, are well aware of George Carlin famously saying it's a club and you ain't in it.
Oh yeah.
But there is this, and it's become so normalized now on both sides of the aisle. There is this backdoor, closed door meeting club with all of these representatives where deals are being struck to enrich themselves, enrich their stock portfolios, pay out government contracts to enrich them and their families even further. It is so banana republic, more so than just the namesake. The corruption is at an all-time high, and we're seeing it all the way from the top of the executive branch all the way down through the legislative branch, and of course even in the judicial branch with people like Clarence Thomas, taking holidays on Putin's vacation island and shit like that. So I'm sorry to say, but our nation is now the single most corrupt governmental nation in the entire world. And the only way you're going to stop it is by calling them out to their face and making everything publicly accessible. 4K hidden microphones, hidden cameras, blast everything out and put full transparency back to the people's house, back to the people where it originally belongs.
Now, in your district, what are the numbers like? What is the polling like for some of these items that you talked about with universal health care, with rooting out the corruption? obviously everybody wants to see corruption rooted out, but when you start getting into things like universal health care, it's been my experience, because I do live in a somewhat red area, not as red as yours, obviously. But when you get into those deeper red areas and you start talking about universal health care, oh, people just start absolutely freaking out. So how do you sell folks in a ninth congressional district on universal health care?
I'll tell you exactly how. Even Republicans, even MAGA Republicans, are hurting to afford and pay for anything, be it their parents' health care, be it their own health care, their children's health care, be it their housing costs or anything else. There is so much more. Even though our nation has never been more divided than it is today, there is so much more we all have in common. Now, what I said originally was affordable health care on a path to universal health care, because I love Bernie
Yeah.
Sanders. I love what he's got to say. But you know what? I'm not going to tell the American public that I'm going to promise them rainbows and unicorns without an actual plan to deliver it. Universal healthcare is such a complex system in an already oversaturated capitalistic system, with webs and webs of layers between insurance companies, providers, pharmaceuticals, prescriptions, all of these different levels. That it's not a light switch. It's not something that we can say, okay, everybody, we've got universal health care. We are so deeply entrenched in the capitalistic model of our healthcare system that it's going to take a while to untangle that mess and actually set a plan in place. But we can make it affordable while
How?
we're on that path.
That's the next thing. How do we do that while we're setting out on that path? Because I can tell
Well,
you from my personal perspective, this year I am paying $1,800 a month for my health insurance. Now I work for myself,
yeah.
so I gotta pay for my own, and I do go through the Affordable Care Act website, but we don't qualify for subsidies, and the subsidies have gone away anyway. So 1,800 a month is, I'll tell you, without being too blunt, it kind of sticks it in and breaks it off every month.
You know who is getting the subsidies now? Who has always gotten the subsidies? And those subsidies have never gone away? The healthcare providers and insurance companies themselves, the CEOs, and they take these government subsidies and they put them back into stock buybacks instead of actually dropping the cost to the average consumer. So you know what? You put regulations in place. I'm not that big on heavy big government regulations, but stuff is so out of control with the wealth gap and just the ballooning of these CEOs and the chairmen of the board and the board members and all this crap of all these different trillion-dollar valuation companies, that there needs to be something put in place that says, hey, you are free to do as many stock buybacks in your company and help your shareholders and your stock price as much as you want, but you're going to lower the cost to the average American on your policies. Then you're not going to get government subsidies and tax cuts while enriching yourself and still ripping off the American public. It's absolutely ludicrous that we've just like thrown our hands to the wind and said this is the way it has to be, when it absolutely doesn't. These people are not going bankrupt. They don't need tax cuts. They don't need subsidies. They are the most profitable, second only to energy companies, foundation in our entire nation. So give me a fucking break. Pardon my French. That they
No,
need
no.
any kind of helping hand at all. What they need to do is actually help what Trump allegedly called America first, and actually help Americans. And anyone that thinks that Trump RX or Trump's plan with the healthcare providers and insurance companies is actually going to help the American public, I've got a piece of waterfront property in New Mexico to sell you, because all he's doing is enriching himself. He doesn't give one damn about you, and he never did. And daily he proves that. There are things we can put in place that will actually, without being such big government, because Republicans always traditionally said they wanted limited big government. And now we see
Yeah.
them clapping, seeing ATF on the streets. But there are things you can do where government puts in limited big government that helps the general public and stops rewarding those that don't fucking need it. Like one of the things I've got planned is called an 80/20 Act. So, forever in my adult life, I've been told, well, these major corporations and major employers, they're job creators. So they get the first run of the mill tax cuts and government subsidies because
Yeah.
they're job creators. Well, with more and more AI and more automation, why are we still giving these people tax cuts and subsidies when all they're doing is laying off human workers? So, my 80/20 Act would stipulate you are free to still receive those tax cuts and government subsidies as long as 80% of your workforce is a human being to 20% being automation and AI. If you don't want that because you think as a corporation and your shareholders' best interest is to lay off humans and have nothing but AI and automation, you're free to do so. I don't want big government. But then you don't get the subsidies. Then you don't get the tax cuts because then you're not officially a job creator.
Okay. All right. So I can get behind all of that. I like what I'm hearing about all of that. I want to switch gears and talk about the stuff that's in the news right now. And obviously, I'm going to go ahead and say a word and step back and let you go. ICE.
Abolish.
Amen. I'm behind that 100%. Where
If,
does
if, if it
your
was if it
incumbent?
was 5 minutes after 9/11, where ICE was just formed, and it was formed with actual career professionals and a lot of
Yeah,
military
yeah.
personnel that transferred into it, I would say keep it and implement safeguards on training and protocols. But as it stands today, it is out of control. It's a cowboy goon squad that has no self-discipline, no frame of mind for tactics and procedures, and is out of control. Abolish ICE and reform it if you have to.
And where does the incumbent Republican Fox in your district stand on this issue?
She's
Or
pro everything Trump is. She doesn't care about anything unless she's told no on something or yes or something. Anything Trump and the Trump camp tells her to say and do, such as before the Transparency Act for Epstein was actually forced the forced petition vote to force the vote on it and force pass it. She's the uh, uh, House Rules Committee chairwoman. So her committee, the House Rules Committee, decides what goes to the floor for a vote. And she voted to not let it go to the floor to the vote, just like all but one of her Republican colleagues, because Donald Trump tells them what to do and what to say. He says jump. She says, I just woke up. Give me a second. All right, how high? Because she's 82.
so you're right. Yeah. So do what I don't I'm not you'll have to forgive me. I'm not familiar with the ninth congressional district. What major urban or metropolitan areas are in there and has ICE had a presence in there?
Fifth district stretches
A
from
fifth,
Boone.
sorry.
No
Sorry.
problem. Stretches from Boone
I
to
keep saying that.
through. Yeah, stretches from Boone through Lenore, Wilkesboro, Greensboro is probably the biggest. I wouldn't really call it a metro; it's a rural metro. Let's
Okay,
call it
yeah.
that. Greensboro is the heaviest population though, so it's like a key shape on the map. If you just go to Google Maps and you type in North Carolina District 5, you'll get a full outline of it. It's technically Western North Carolina because
Yeah.
we're that top west north part of North Carolina. And if you've never visited before, Blowing Rock, because I'm an adopted son of North
I
Carolina.
I was just going to say we used to party in Blowing Rock.
I love Blowing
there
Rock.
was a little townhome subdivision called Camelot that we used to party in Blowing Rock, and then we'd go into Boone when the kids came back to Appalachian State.
Yeah, Appalachian State. Not late.
Appalachia, my bad.
Come on, Windy City.
We used to
Yeah,
Piskey National Forest, right? The Piskey National
yeah,
Forest.
yeah. I am an adopted son of North Carolina. I discovered North Carolina. I think you know, but maybe your viewers don't. I spent 2 years of my life driving the country, passing out survival gear to homeless veterans on my own dime between 2017 and 2019. I crisscrossed the nation 7 times. Me and my little dog, who's now passed on, Boomer, my best friend in the world. Yeah, we crisscrossed the nation 7 times. Traversed 33 states, sandstorms, snowstorms, blizzards, anywhere and everywhere you can think of, just hunting down homeless veterans. Ask them 2 questions. I'm not a veteran myself, but I do come from a long lineage of military personnel, so they raised me with this information. If you ever want to question somebody's bona fides that are maybe desperate on the street holding up a sign saying veteran please help or something, because there are people that are not veterans that do it, that are just desperate, and I don't fault them for that. I take personal offense to the people out there going for the mall discounts and stuff like that, performing stolen valor that didn't actually serve. That's despicable. But a homeless person is desperate, and I'm sure they'll have better luck getting help by holding up a sign that says veteran. But I only had supplies and enough of my life savings, about 20 grand, to just specifically help veterans in need. So I'd go up, I'd spark up a conversation with them, and I ask them two questions: what was your MOS, military occupational specialty, their job, and what was their EAS, end of active service date? And every single veteran alive knows those two answers like the back of their hand. Anyone that ever stutters on those two questions, chances are aren't really a veteran. But I passed out fishing poles and tents and sleeping bags and ponchos, so many Coleman disposable ponchos, just to try to help them because I knew this was Trump's first term. I knew he wasn't going to do a damn thing. I actually expected our country to fall into as it is today in his first term, but his cabinet in his first term, even though I didn't like them, were at least adults in the room that told him no, unlike today's cabinet.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get out there and actually, since I didn't serve myself, actually make a difference. I drafted a piece of proposed legislation called the Character by Integrity Act to house homeless veterans. And it's sustainable, it's mathematical, does not increase taxes for the cost of the program. As a matter of fact, it decreases everybody's taxes progressively over the course of the use of the program. I wrote it backwards so that the most stingy person that wanted to argue against helping veterans couldn't and say we just couldn't afford it. And I went to DC. I petitioned both sides of the aisle. Speaker Paul Ryan was the speaker at the time. Everybody on both sides of the aisle, and I got nothing but crickets. And I just kept driving the country, and I was like, screw this. I'm just going to give them everything I've got until I run out of everything, my life savings. And yeah, long story short, 2018, end of 2018, just start of 2019, I was coming through North Carolina. I absolutely fell in love with Lone Rock, and I was like, I'm going to make this my home. Born and raised in California, but the woods.
It's a beautiful country over there. It's
Yeah,
absolutely stunning.
Yeah, the woods and hiking and mountains and fishing. I spent my childhood fly fishing the Yellowstone in Montana, and there's amazing fishing in North Carolina. So this is home. I am an
And
adopted son.
it's also my understanding that the Bluesky National Forest is the only rainforest on the continental 48, right?
North Carolina has some amazing features to it. It's actually got one of yes to answer your question, and two, it's actually got a reverse flowing river too. A lot of people don't know about. Every other river in the country flows north to south. We've got a river here that flows south to north.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And
that's not my district though. That's out east.
That's a natural occurrence. See, here in Chicago, we reversed the flow of the Chicago River, but we did that mechanically because we didn't want all that sewage going into the Lake Michigan.
Yeah. There's a lot of fascinating aspects, especially historically. North Carolina did join the Confederacy. Sad to say, that's a historical fact, but they were the very last one to do it, and they were holding out to the very end until they just got too much pressure from the already joined up seceded states saying, hey, if you don't join us, we're going to attack you first. And they buckled and they finally joined. But they were trying to side with the Union. So that's at least a good bit. A for effort, even though they didn't follow through with it.
I want to go back to something that you touched on earlier because a lot of people hear something, they hear a name, they hear a phrase, and they know that there's a lot of conversation happening about it, but they don't know any details about it. So, you mentioned earlier APAC. Now, people who are politically involved, they understand what APAC is. They understand what the people that have the issues with APAC and why they have issues with APAC. But for everybody that's listening or that's going to listen, that goes, you know what, I hear APAC, but I always tune out and I never understand what it is. Explain to them what APAC is.
American Israeli Political Action Committee. It originally was started to help. It's Israeli based, not based, but Israeli founded. But it originally started off. They never contributed politically to candidates ever. They only lobbied on behalf of American Israeli, negotiation, trade policy, defense policy, normal things that we do with our allies. And then they were like, well, not then they were like, I'm going to separate them because historical fact, because Benjamin Netanyahu has just marketed the hell out of saying anyone that speaks out against Zionism is anti-Semitic, and I'm going to put a kebab in that right now. The former Prime Minister Rabin was assassinated at the end of an election between him and Benjamin Netanyahu. Rabin was a man of devout Jewish faith that wanted a two-state solution, and a radical within the Zionist National Party went up and assassinated Rabin. Rabin's wife always accused Benjamin Netanyahu of being behind that. I was on a live earlier today where I said, I'm surprised TikTok didn't ban me because you know how TikTok is now. But
Right.
I said outright to all my followers that Zionism is not Judaism. Okay, it's not anti-Semitic to be against Zionism. Zionism and their behavior as of late is no different than Christian nationalists here at home. What in God's name is Christ-like about anything with Christian nationalists today? It's oppressive, it's hateful, it's targeted. It only benefits the people at the top that are wanting to gain power and money. That's it. It has nothing to do with Christianity. And I'm a Christian, I'm a Lutheran. I feel the exact same way about Zionism. And we're seeing more and more Jewish people stand up and say, yeah, I'm not a Zionist. I'm a proud Jew. There is a difference. But you know, that doesn't fit the narrative if you're calling out things. Now, circling back to APAC, APAC used to be altruistic. It used to be pure to the best definition of the word, I guess you could argue. Um, but it became a political conquest campaign through political contributions. And it has gone so far out of control. And you know what? Anyone that claims I'm anti Semitic, which I absolutely am not, I've also got a piece of proposed legislation that says ban all foreign funded organizations from contributing politically to candidates and incumbents. And you know what? That's not APAC specific. That's any foreign funded organization. Why on God's green earth are we allowing foreign funded organizations to contribute politically? And I've got a news flash for you, Tom. There's organizations that go way, way back that are American born that are now foreign funded, like the NRA. NRA is funded by Hungary and Russia. So if you're an organization and you're accepting foreign money, foreign funding, you should be banned outright from being able to contribute politically to anyone.
We have a former governor here in Illinois that has now officially registered as a foreign agent lobbyist, I believe, and that's in Rod Blagojevich. He was a disgraced governor here in Illinois. Spent some time in prison. Trump pardoned him. He can't earn a living anymore, so he's now lobbying for a foreign government, and it just blows my mind that some of this stuff happens. But since you're on this subject, before we go into other policies, since you're on this subject, how are you funded?
By individual contributions. I have not received one single penny from a PAC, a corporate PAC, even the smallest PAC, and definitely not any of these super PACs or. Um, of course, because I'm running independent, I'm not going to get any love from the DNC. And of course, I'm competing against Virginia Fox. I'm not going to get any love from the RNC. And I kind of want to put this on the record too for any candidate out there stating, which seems to be a trending thing of I don't accept corporate PACs. All right, put your money where your mouth is then and denounce the DNC, DCCC, RNC, all of them too, because guess what? They are super PACs. I hate to tell you this,
Okay.
but they're getting their money from outside sources too. So I really firmly believe that we need laws on the book to only receive individual contributions, but we're not going to be able to get that done until we overturn something like Citizens United.
Oh yeah, that's eons away. I'm in total agreement about money in politics. I unfortunately am also of the opinion that as long as we allow money in politics, we kind of got to use money to get the message out, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
you're experiencing it's probably very difficult to get your message out right now because ad space is fucking expensive.
You know what? The most trying thing for me because I'm running independent, a Democrat candidate or a Republican candidate doesn't have to go through this hoop. They don't have to collect signatures to get on the ballot. I do because I'm running as an unaffiliated independent. I'm actually the last poll we had performed actually shows me with a populist movement Probably because of my social media presence, because that itself is worth millions of dollars of ad spend if you think about it, with outreach. And probably why my TikTok was banned 3 times. To be honest with you, they don't like that. They don't like that competition. But yeah, as far as favorability and populist, I'm kind of pulling up above everyone else. So Kaya Creekmore's great. I love his policies. He's got a great platform. I'd like to see more detailed approach and how to get what he wants to get done. Virginia Fox has done nothing for Republicans or Democrats for the past 20 years and has offered no solutions on improving that, and has never shown up to town halls or interacted with her constituents really face to face. She'll show up for an occasional photo op once in a while, like Hurricane Helene, which Donald Trump, hey, thanks a lot, denied ongoing FEMA recovery and repair support twice last year and is still being actively denied, even though they made a big kerfuffle out of it when Biden was in office.
So what does Virginia Fox say about that then?
Nothing. No comment. No comment. She had one photo op walking up a hill with her 116-year-old husband, carrying a Home Depot bucket because Home Depot donates to her in crystal clear, clean dungarees, not a speck of dirt on her, but trying to look like she was actually helping the people. You want to hear something despicable about this woman? She can't even do the bare minimum as a so-called self-proclaimed Christian to help her fellow neighbor who voted for her. People were fleeing for their lives down the mountainside from Hurricane Helene because all the roads were washed out. The frontage road that butts up to her property, she locked the gate on them because it came within eyesight of her property. It was a big story in the Charlotte Observer. She denied it. She said she didn't own the road, named the owner, and the owner came out and said, yeah, I do own the road, but I gave the Fox family permission to grant access to that road, especially in case of emergency. These people don't care. These people, it's an ongoing problem with these people in DC, in their localities within their states that they so-called represent, where they believe they are, lords and ladies and sitting on top of a throne, looking down on all the peasants down below. They don't care about the people that they think are living on their land. They want the peasants away. This is the biggest problem I have with representatives today, and why my campaign actively says we need to return the definition of the word representative, because today 99.9% of these so-called representatives only represent their immediate family's wealth, generational hoarding wealth, their stock portfolios, their private interests. They don't give a damn about the everyday American.
Well, you spoke earlier about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I have spoken numerous times, even though I identify as a Democrat. I have spoken numerous times about Nancy Pelosi and the problems that we've had with her and insider trading and her blocking any kind of legislation to limit or ban insider trading. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you mentioned her earlier. She, for some reason, still unknown, I mean, everybody has their speculations, does a complete 180 on Trump, begins to actually speak in a common sense sort of manner after years and years and years of spouting some of the absolute worst conspiracy theories you can possibly believe, announces out of nowhere that she's going to retire.
Yep.
She's retiring with a net worth of over $40 million and I believe a lifetime pension from the federal government now.
Yep, she gets her lifetime pension and lifetime health benefits.
And she goes back to Rome, Georgia, to her very successful construction company where she's going to be financially set for the remainder of her life. Why do you think she all of a sudden pulled a 180, turned on Donald Trump, and just fled the coop?
I would absolutely love to give credit where credit's due right now, but I can't remember who said it. It was a mutual creator of mine, a woman. I can't remember which one. God, I really try to go out of my way to tag people if I bring up what they say and give them the credit where it's due, because not enough people do that. All of this, what you do, what I do, what everybody does online, it takes time and effort and originality. God, I wish I could. I can't remember. It might have been Straight Out of Salem or Casey. I can't remember. I'm sorry if you're seeing this. You're in my heart and mind.
It's okay. I'm sure they're going to understand, man.
Yeah, that you said this first. They said we've been dealing with the hate and toxicity of words and rhetoric from someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene for 10 years. And the first second she turns on Donald Trump, she gets it back thrown at her for 1 month and she tucks tails and run. That says everything. She couldn't
Yeah.
hang. She couldn't hang with the amount of vitriol and shit that we've all been getting for a decade, for no more than 1 month, and she tucks tails and run. That should tell you everything about who Marjorie Taylor Greene really is.
Do you think that it might have had anything to do with the fact that a lot of Republicans seem to see some form of writing on the wall? As of today, I believe 29 Republicans have either quit Congress or said that they weren't going to run for reelection. It seems like we have a bunch of rats fleeing a sinking
Oh
ship.
yeah.
And
Oh
I
yeah.
think that somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene may have well been safe in her district for a reelection bid, but she would have definitely been in the minority in Congress. And and this is something else that I want to get into in a little bit more detail. I think that of all the shit that she was so wrong about for so long, I think that she got, holy shit, I really didn't think he was in those files. And look at him. This
Mm,
motherfucker's in the files 13,000 times, and I can't defend that. You don't think that she might have been that?
yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. One of your commenters said that they thought she just wanted to retire. She got her money, lifetime pension. She wanted out. I think it was a personal slight to her that Trump wouldn't endorse her for Senate.
For Senate, yeah.
I think she was overzealot for Senate because her little podunk district in Georgia is a whole lot different than the rest of Georgia, especially including Atlanta. She would have been slaughtered in Senate in a Senate race, because she has constantly displayed active racism, active bigotry, active ignorance, active, obtuseness. I mean, she is a moron. Let's be frank. She's one of those people that walks into a conversation and thinks she's the smartest person in the room, and then says something so outlandish and stupid, no one else can say anything because they're just so stunned how stupid she is. Second, only maybe possibly to Lauren Boebert. Okay, she's
Okay, but I think
they both compete back and forth with the stupid quips. But I think she was slighted. She was hurt because she thought she had this like intimate uh, family type love bonding with Donald Trump, and
yeah.
when he turned his back on her for the Senate thing, that hurt her feelings, and I think that spurred her on to actually take action on the Epstein stuff. Otherwise, she would have shut her mouth about it because if you remember, up until the point where he spurned her on about the Senate endorsement, she kept on saying publicly about Trump and Epstein that Trump was the one who was trying to release the files and kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago and all that. She was still repeating the lies for Trump up until he spurned her on that Senate endorsement, and then she went full tilt, and then she started getting the backlash from his most allegiant, crazy ass followers, sending out death threats and stuff like that, and that's where I follow up with she could only hang with that kind of vitriol for 1 month, whereas we've had to deal with it for a decade now. So I think it was a combination of things with her, and the commenter's right too. She's taking her money and running.
Oh
Um,
yeah. She's set for life.
yeah,
She doesn't have anything to worry about for the remainder of her life, and it was sort of like a very short NFL career. She got in, she did some damage, she made a lot of money, and she got out. And you said that she was second only maybe to Lauren Boebert, and that's accurate in today's day and age. But the path was blazed for both of these imbeciles by Sarah Palin.
oh yeah, absolutely. Uh, I still to this day I disagreed with 90% of John McCain's policies, but I still believe, especially seeing him defend Obama when that woman was like, "He's a
Yeah,
Muslim, get out of here." He was still an honorable, decent man, I believe.
he was what probably the last class of the old statesmen
Right? Yeah,
that
I agree.
used to represent the Oval Office, where it used to be somebody that served in the military. I
Right,
mean,
right,
for the longest time, it was somebody that served in the military, and they had some type of statesman-like foreign policy
right.
quality to them. And really, I think Bill Clinton, maybe more Ronald Reagan, was really the first one to come along that didn't really have that.
I think the downfall all started with Reagan, to be honest with you.
Yes,
Um,
yes. Okay, so
we got that populist movement instead of performance. No, populist movements really are not a good metric. I know the whole popular thing is catchy and emotional and
Yeah.
intriguing, and engaging. But as far as getting shit done, the history of our country, any populist nominee from Nixon to Reagan to Trump to Bush Jr. has always led to fucking disaster statistically. I mean, you can't argue this shit.
No,
Um,
my entire lifetime it's been happening.
yeah, well, you've got more wisdom than
It,
I.
I go back. I was born at the tail end of Nixon, and I mean, I so the shit Republican presidents I've lived through are Nixon, Ford, Reagan, both Bushes, and Trump. I mean, that is not exactly a stellar lineup for the Republican Party in
Yeah,
my lifetime. Yeah.
yeah,
On the flip side, the Democratic Party in my lifetime has put forth Carter, Clinton, Obama, and Biden.
right.
I mean, when you just take a look at with the time that I've been alive, I don't
It's
understand how anybody could ever bring themselves to vote for a Republican president again, especially since they keep going further right and further right. But we got to remember Donald Trump is a fucking minority president. I'm sorry, I'm gonna screed for a minute if I could, please. Donald Trump is a minority president. The only reason Donald Trump got the nomination in 2016 is because the Republican field was so large that the normal Republican vote was spread out over 15 people, and Trump had all the crazies. And he was able to consolidate the crazies and start picking off states and knocking off Republican candidates. More Republicans voted against Donald Trump than voted for him. He won by attrition. And it is in my opinion crucial that the Democrats, the independents, and any sane Republicans like you see, and I never in a million years thought I would say somebody like Rick Wilson was sane considering the things he's done over the course of his lifetime in Republican politics, but the people in the Lincoln Project, I
I'm connected with him on Instagram, and I'm well aware that even though he's a really nice guy, and the Lincoln Project does a lot of great call out work as of today. It's the domino effect or the butterfly effect or whatever you want to call it. There's everything has led us to where we are today, and there were a great deal many warning signs of dangers that we could have avoided. I'm not saying negatively against Rick Wilson and his work today, but there was a lot of, I don't know, ignorance is bliss mentality, and it's happened on the Democrat side blatantly too,
yes,
With Clinton. I really wish you've heard my staple intro on my social media, which I'm so fucking tired of saying. But I'm not MAGA. Please don't scroll. I've got a
yes,
moral compass and a soul. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the best. We're all human. We err. We learn. We grow. But man, oh man, is our country over the past 40 years has made some just amazing, amazingly horrific decisions and mistakes that lack a moral compass and lack the existence of a soul. It has become so linear and so dogmatic instead of pragmatic. There's no room for philosophy or debate. It's just we're so pigheaded, we're so stubborn, we're so full of hubris and pride. We think we're the greatest things on earth, that we often don't even allow intellectualism to get into the debate to say, hey, wait a minute, should we stop and talk about this before we do this? It's one of the biggest problems of a baby country as we are. We're still going through those growing pains, but unfortunately, we have developed at such an extraordinary rate with technology that I'm worried that we're on the precipice of reaching that next level of the growing pains of a baby country because we're not even 250 years old yet. So even though Donald Trump said that we landed boats in Greenland 500 years ago,
right, yeah. I mean, but he
idiot.
also thought we had airports during the Revolutionary War.
Yeah,
So
seriously.
okay, I'm guessing that
God did
you're
not
the
choose Trump. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Tom. One of your commenters said God chose Trump. Uh, God did not choose Trump. There is absolutely nothing Christ-like about Donald Trump.
No, not in any way, shape, or
Down to the
form.
molecules of his being. He is antithetical as a practicing Lutheran, actual Christian. Donald Trump is hate, apathy, vengeance, and vitriol. There's nothing Christ-like about Donald Trump. So forgive
No,
me. Go
there's
bless
nothing.
yourself with that.
There's nothing. I get trolls on YouTube just like I get trolls on TikTok.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's no redeeming quality about him whatsoever. Which is why I was actually stunned anybody actually voted for him, because he has shown us who he is for the past 60 years. He's put himself in front of every camera. He's shown us all the people he's screwed over, all the wives he's cheated on, all the companies he's bankrupted. But another, I guess, really dominant topic in politics, even still, since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, is abortion. Where does your district stand there? Because these
There's
typically red districts, you will find even the Democratic candidates tend to go a little bit soft on abortion because the people in the district, they just care so much about the topic.
Oh yeah, no, I've had a lot of conversations with Republicans on that, and I still got their signatures, even though they are pro-life and I am pro-choice. Women's rights are human rights, and how I win this argument every single time with pro-lifers is: do you believe in big government telling you you have to have that kid or abort that kid? No, no, I'm against big government. Okay, then why are you allowing it to dictate that you have to have that kid? Or if, say, a political party takes power that is different than yours, tells you now you've got to abort that kid. Don't you believe in everybody's individualistic freedom and liberty? Oh
So
yeah,
those are the
yeah, I do.
conversations you're having in your district to try and.
These are there's it's a very heavy pro-life district. I'm a man of integrity. I'm my mother's son. I will never betray her memory by pretending to be something I'm not. I am pro-choice. Everyone who is pro-life is free to be pro-life. It is not the government's decision or power to make that call. It's each individual person. Period.
Okay. I have told I don't get to vote in your district or your state, obviously. But I have said that anybody that I get to vote for, whether it be my member of the House of Representatives, a member of the Senate, or presidential candidate, there are some things that I want to hear out of the candidates for my own edification. Now, I don't care where you stand because I don't get to vote for you. I mean, I care, but I don't care. You understand that? But it seems to me that 11 months in, with about 3 months to go, he's already done, he being Donald Trump, of course, has already done so much damage to the capital of our nation that by the time it's all said and done with, it's going to look like a knockoff Timu version of Mar-a-Lago. I want to tell every presidential candidate and every senatorial candidate and a congressional candidate that I can vote for. Tell me you're going to promise to put it all back the way it was. Tell me you're going to take that fucking arc down. Tell me you're going to take that fucking ballroom down. Tell me you're going to take the fucking gold off the walls. Tell me you're going to take the stupid fucking pictures off the wall. You're going to put the fucking rose garden back. Where do you stand on all of that? He's turning it, the name Trump is going to be all over Washington, D.C. before this is all over with. He's already fucking ruined the Kennedy Center. They tanked the sales so much they got to close the fucking thing down
For
for
2 years.
2 years. Yeah, and under the guise of it being restored.
Right before the 250. That's
Right,
the funniest
exactly.
part.
So where do you stand on his marketing of himself throughout the nation's capital?
So pretend this is not a knife, and pretend it's actually a chisel. But every every
Right.
sing, every single Trump letter, and you know what? Things that, like, I, for one, I don't believe the ballroom's ever going to be built. Um, I mean, just the disrespect to the history of the White House. Not only the First Lady's office, but it was also the Indian Treaty Room, completely wiped off the face of the planet. So,
You don't
continued.
believe it's ever going to be built?
I don't think it will. I think it'll be caught up in court. The national whatever historical society's already got the lawsuit filed against Trump. I think that's going to put the brakes on it. But let's say hypothetically the ballroom does get built. I say repurpose it. I say make a DC VA. right there, attached to the freaking White House. Obviously blocked off, so not just everybody can come and go into the White House, but use the space if he does build it out. I mean, the White House is the people's house, just like the Capitol is the people's house. It's not meant for private ownership of elected officials. So if he does build something, the Arch, screw that. We already have one in New York. No, well, Paris has, or not. Is it Paris that has their original one?
Paris has one. Yeah, he said that we're the only
Anyway,
nation that doesn't have a victory arc, and he wants this named after himself.
we do have a victory arc. It's in St. Louis.
Well, and he want it came out. I believe it came out today that he wants it to be 250 feet tall.
Yeah, I know. No, it's just I don't think the arc will ever even begin to get started. I don't think it'll ever be approved, whatever plot of land that they've got proposed on. The ballroom might, because he's already demolished that crap, and Democrats even will be like, well, put something up in its place because it looks so unprofessional and garbage now. We need to
see. I think he's going to build the ballroom
to the rest of the world, or confidence, or some excuse that they'll make up for it. So a ballroom might get completed, but then repurpose it for the people.
I think he's going to build it whether it's tied up in court or not, because he doesn't fucking care about court.
I know.
They just, I believe the judge, I think it was a Reagan appointee, I believe, it might have been a Bush appointee that was just ripping ICE apart in Minnesota, and in his finding, he said that it is his opinion that ICE has violated more laws in the month of January this year than most federal agencies have in their entire existence. They don't give a shit.
Because they're all jackboots now. Even the identified shooters of Alex Preddy go back to 2018, and they're all cowboys and undisciplined and unprofessional. They're part of.
So how do the courts enforce their rulings?
No, we have a constitutional crisis, and because we've got no checks and balances. Legislative branch isn't doing their job. Department of Justice is not independent. U.S. Marshals answer to the Department of Justice. We're a shit show, Tom. I'm sorry to tell you, that's the sad reality of it. So, yes, dismantle and eradicate everything that Trump put his name on after he's removed, because he's not going to leave willingly. After he's removed forcibly, if necessary, if there's things that are like physical structures, like a ballroom or something, repurpose it for the people. Why waste the tax dollars on tearing that down? We can always rename it and use the structure. But yes, absolutely restore everything that this administration has purposely taken down, because it hasn't just taken down stuff in DC, but all across the nation. National parks all across the nation are removing history signs about the slave days and slavery and things like that.
Yeah.
All of that stuff needs to be put back up and put so freaking bolted and welded in place that it can never be taken down again. We have so much to recover and repair. Mark Rubio has 50 fucking jobs. As Secretary of State. He's at NASA. He's the chairman of the National Archive. So he's the one that's approving all of these Trump demands of taking stuff down. Then on the military side of things, you've got racist white supremacist douchebag Pete Kegsbreath that is removing Medal of Honor recipients just because they're black, heroes and actual patriots because they're women. I mean, fuck this guy. And you know what? I'll say this. A lot of people don't talk about this. Again, I'm not a veteran, but because of my veteran advocacy, I have a lot of active duty friends. And every single one of them says, how in the hell did he get his rank without attending one single school? This guy's a fucking Nepo baby whose dad played golf with some commanding officer that said, give my son a rank. Pete Hegsbreath is a fucking piece of shit, white supremacist douchebag, soy boy, as he says it.
I couldn't agree more.
I'm sorry. I know I'm cussing too much.
You don't have to. You don't
Well,
have to listen. They listen to me, man. I drop the F bomb. I sprinkle that shit in like it's salt and pepper. So you don't have to apologize here. We are coming up on an hour. I don't want to take up too much of your time. At the end of this, I want you to be able to tell everybody how they can find you, how they can help, how they can learn more about you.
thank
But
you.
before we get to that point here, in the last few minutes as we're wrapping up here, because of this shit show that we live in, because of the world that we live in, and because everybody needs a little something to help them get through, where do you stand on the legalization of marijuana?
I'm for it. I lived in Humboldt, in Humboldt County in Arcata with my love of my life, my fiance, who God rest her soul, is no longer here. But I partook. There's no problem with that. I was a wake and baker, man, and I don't anymore because honestly, I just kind of like alcohol. I kind of grew out of it. I may once in a blue moon take a puff, but it's just like alcohol again. I just don't ever feel like it anymore.
Right on.
My biggest addiction are these damn caffeine drinks and
Oh, energy drinks?
energy drinks.
Oh Lord.
That's my. I know they're terrible for me, but I swear, my last physical, a nurse put a thing in my OCD diagnosed brain that has not been able to been shook since lockdown. I went in for a physical. I warned her. They were Rockstar Zeros I had in me at the time. And I warned her. I said, hey, I got like 3 of these in me. So my stats are probably going to be elevated. Her eyes popped, her jaw dropped. She said, I'm like, it's high, right? She said, no, it's actually alarmingly low and slow. And ever since she said that, I've got it convinced in my head now that the only thing keeping my heart beating is these damn energy drinks. My campaign manager, I know she's watching right now. She hates me for it. She hates that I get all jacked up on energy drinks. But I'm absolutely for legalization of marijuana. And going further, I absolutely want psychedelics approved, especially for veterans with PTSD. Troy Ulfer on TikTok and Instagram is a friend of mine. He runs Burn It Down Ranch to help actually SA victims, trafficked people in Florida, to give them a safe haven. Him and his wife do it. He's a great soul. He's a combat medic, and as hard as it comes, with the biggest heart. As most people are, and he's never once in his life called himself an alpha because actual tough guys don't. But he is a big advocate. He's actually lobbied the government to try to help push for FDA approval and stuff of this nature for microdosing shrooms, things of that nature, psychedelics for PTSD. Because there's been, I other than normal street mushrooms back when I was
Right.
a teenager, I've never really gotten into that like actual microdosing stuff that is like so kind of mainstay now. But I've never complained about mushrooms, magic mushrooms, man.
Right.
Uh,
Right on. Right on.
I've never had a bad trip, but I've had to walk some friends through having bad trips, and sometimes
I
that
I
drags you down a
listen.
little bit.
I've had them. I mean, I don't have any constituents to answer to or anything, but I've had a whole bunch of bad trips over the course of my lifetime. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'll readily admit that.
You
Uh,
know,
Good.
I think there needs to be a serious discussion in our country about schedule. What is it? Schedule 1
Hmm.
regulations, things like that. I don't want people to become dependent on things. I don't want things, illicit substances, to negatively impact other people's lives. So I do believe in some regard of regulation, but I think we've also lost the plot on regulation on a lot of things. Whereas in Amsterdam, their crime rate is low and pretty much everything under the sun is legalized, because it takes away that black market and all that,
Yeah.
dependence and crime and all that stuff. So I think we need to, I don't know if our nation is ready for that, but I think we need to have a serious conversation about the legality of all these different rules and federal rules on the subject. So I do believe that we do have a serious opiate epidemic and problem. I don't believe any of the shit Donald Trump says about it because he has no fucking idea what he's talking
Yeah.
about. The
Yeah.
majority of them smuggled into the country come through ports of entries and are carried and muled in by white Americans, not immigrants. So Donald Trump can kick all the rocks with that racist bullshit. But yeah, it's a very nuanced talk of where we're at because we do have serious addiction and substance abuse issues throughout the populace of our country, where people don't just regiment themselves and pace themselves and take. Look at one of your troll comments.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, whoever blocked that person.
Yeah, they're always in there.
Yeah, yeah. God doesn't care if you're white, black.
No, he doesn't.
I hate to tell you this, but there's no such thing as God bless white America, because there's no such thing as white America and never will be. Fucking deal with it. Yeah.
They're the same trolls over and over again.
Right,
But listen,
you got them. You got them heavy.
My mods are fantastic. They're on top of it.
Awesome.
And
I appreciate
their work.
that. Yeah, it's Black History Month, by the way. If everyone forgot, because of the 24-hour news cycle with Donald Trump's chaos. But yes, it is Black History Month, and everything that this administration has taken down needs to be put back up, and full legalization. Pay tribute to Mr. Jerry Garcia.
Amen. Amen. So listen, I haven't figured out how to hang out and chat after these lives end. So it's going to come to an abrupt end. But before it does, please tell everybody how they can find you, where they can find you, and how they can support whatever it is that you need support in.
I appreciate it very much. And thank you, Tom, for having me up.
Absolutely, man.
Especially the honor of being your first guest. I appreciate that very much. Right. My social medias are either Empathy Tour, at Empathy Tour. The handle is David Hang Loose Boomer on TikTok, or Official Empathy Tour on TikTok. I have 2 accounts only on TikTok. Official Empathy Tour on Instagram. Clayton 4NC on Instagram. And then my official campaign website is Clayton, the number 4, nc.com. So that's CLAYTON 4 nc.com. And well, as long as we can secure enough signatures to get on the ballot, I'm pretty damn positive we've got this election in the bag.
Well, I thank you very much for stopping in. Good luck to you. We're going to obviously follow the content. We're mutuals on social media, so we're going to talk more before it's all said and done with. And best of luck to you, man.
Thank you so much, Tom.
We'll talk to you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.